But it will be rain or shine. Even if it snows, we're still playing kickball next weekend. All right. It's 7:17, Friday, July 23rd. Pacific Points, Calvo Enterprises, ITN, and Jack in the Box. Proud to present this morning's episode of The Link. Mwah. Good morning on you. Facebook Live. Thanks for joining us. And we're going to KUAM TV at 8 a.m. And right now in the KUAM News Zoom room, he's back here on The Link from the Animal Wellness Action Group, Wayne Pacelle. Is it Pacelle or Pacelle? Just want to make sure I get that right.
Pacelle. You got it right the first time.
Okay, so do I say it like Pacelle or do I say like Pacelle?
In the old country, yes.
All right, okay. So Wayne Pacelle of Animal Wellness Action. And you guys had come out with a release. Mm-hmm. Bree, this one like freaked me out because I didn't know that there were that many cocks coming into Guam.
Yeah, that's quite a lot of cocks coming in here to Guam, especially in the first 6 months. And federal law prohibits cockfighting. And so, yeah, if you could kind of, Wayne or Mr. Pacelle, if you could go through what you guys discovered with the records that you obtained from the Guam Department of Agriculture.
Yes. Well, listen, thanks for continuing the discussion on cockfighting. It's certainly been a controversial issue over the past couple of years on Guam. Animal Wellness Action has raised the issue that cockfighting is now a federal crime, the fighting itself. But the shipment of fighting birds to Guam has been a federal crime since 2002. So when the new federal law took effect in December of 2019, we really began to alert Guamanians to the fact that cockfighting is banned under federal law. When that happened, cockfighting enthusiasts sued the federal government and tried to invalidate the federal law. That issue was decided by the U.S. District Court on Guam and also the Northern Marianas Islands in favor of the United States, saying that the United States has the authority to ban cockfighting, and other prior challenges to the interstate transport ban have also been challenged, and the authority of the United States has been upheld time and time again.
All right, Wayne, let me get in real quick on that.
Courts, recognizing the authority of the courts, yet at the same time, they're engaging in this illegal commerce. And we discovered in getting records from the Guam Department of Agriculture that 1,340 birds were sent mainly from Oklahoma, with the next largest bunch being from Hawaii to Guam. These are cockfighters who are selling the birds, and these are cockfighters who are receiving the birds. It's a federal felony.
Yeah, Wayne, so I mean, we had this court case and the federal law withstood the challenge, then why are we still seeing this huge influx of cocks into the island?
Well, because there are lawbreakers on Guam and lawbreakers in the states. They're both equally liable under the federal law. And the two top shippers are from Southeast Oklahoma. They represented about 75% of all shipments to Guam from January 2021 through the end of June 2021. We have dossiers on them. These people are deeply involved in cockfighting. They attend major cockfighting derbies. Yet there's this whole pretense that, oh, we're just selling them for breeding. And the people who are receiving them say, oh, we're just breeders. There's nobody who just breeds these animals and doesn't fight them. That's the point. It's akin to horse racing. If you're a really good horse racing enthusiast and you breed the animals, the only reason that the colts are going to be of interest to potential other horse racing enthusiasts is if the adult wins races. It's the same thing with fighting animals. They have to win fighting derbies, and then the offspring are sold for as much as $3,000 per bird. And we've also pointed out that there's no commercial poultry industry on Guam. There's not a big, chicken processing facility. You don't have huge Pilgrim's Pride or Tyson operations on the island. There's no reason for these birds to be flown in from thousands of miles away for the breeding, for meat production or for egg production. It's transparently cockfighting. So we have alerted federal authorities again. We've given names and addresses and details. And, law enforcement needs to act. But I also think that the political leaders on Guam need to stop allowing this. The Guam Department of Agriculture knows exactly what's going on here. They should not be allowing these birds to clear their filter in terms of coming in. These are known cockfighters on both ends. And, one state senator, he keeps saying it's the cultural.
Oh, yeah, let me get into
right.
that, Wayne. Let me just go ahead and read this release. And then for you guys just joining us, in case you missed it, there is a federal ban on cockfighting. But was it a law, Bree, or was it in the budget that the governor had mandated that enforcement of the federal cockfighting ban would be of the lowest priority?
I don't think it was a law. I think it was just a statement.
A policy, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
A statement by her.
Oh, yeah. So apparently that's like the lowest priority for the police department, as per the governor. But there was a release that came out from the public safety chair. He's the chair of Public Safety, Emergency Response, Military and Veterans Affairs, Mayor's Council, and Public Transit, Senator Pito Terlahi, in response to the Animal Wellness Foundation. His release, Senator Terlahi responds to Wayne Pacelle, "Give me liberty or give me death." That's a little much. Kind of a little much. Jay?
What's interesting is with that phrase, of course, there was foot on the snake, which I'm sure like animal rights people don't exactly appreciate.
Who was it that said this? Was it John Payne? Well, whoever it was, I'm pretty sure they weren't talking about cockfighting. The Animal Wellness Foundation and Wayne Pacelle are at it again, interfering with the culture of the people of Guam. Guam law recognizes cockfighting as a cultural practice, and the enforcement of the federal ban on cockfighting is the lowest priority of the government of Guam. This is an issue of culture of democracy. We have a right to have voting representation in laws that affect us. It is a basic question of human rights more than it is of animal rights. Respect the Chamorro people. We will not ask anyone for permission to practice our own culture. It is our right under international law to fight these cocks for money. Right on. Well, I added that last part. But, Wayne, what did you make of this statement again from Senator Terlahi?
Well, it's the same old thing. And I think when you don't have an argument on the merits, you default to some unprovable, vague defense. And everybody who's involved in cockfighting, whether they're Cajuns in Louisiana, whether they're rural whites in Oklahoma, whether they are cockfighting enthusiasts from Puerto Rico, they say it's our culture. I mean, the fact is, cockfighting started thousands of years ago. It was spread during the Roman Empire all over the world. It's been going on for a long time. It doesn't mean it's part of anyone's culture. It just means that a small percentage of people engaged in the activity. It's further wrong when you look at the survey that we did more than a year ago. A statistically valid survey of Guamanians showed not only that 3 out of every 4 Guamanians who had an opinion on this issue supported the federal ban on cockfighting, but we looked at the demographic groups and people of Chamorro descent, people of Filipino descent, other Pacific Islanders, all opposed it. There was no subgroup that was for cockfighting and the others were okay. And what about the Filipinos? I mean, it's largely legal in the Philippines, but if you come to the United States and you're of Filipino descent, you abide by the laws of the United States. So I think if the senator, I wish he would focus more on illegal activities that actually do threaten people. And I've been, hearing from some of my friends on Guam that they're concerned about a surge in crime. I understand he leads the committee that looks at public safety. I wish he would focus on stopping that illegal behavior and stop defending this illegal behavior. It's been settled by the courts. Obey the rule of law. He doesn't have to agree, but there are other activities that people want to do that are illegal, but we are a civilization and a nation of laws. And this has been settled. It's a settled matter of law.
Oh, mic drop.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Hear that? Focus on public safety and the crime. We're getting robbed out here, and you're worried about cocks. Really. But what's next, Wayne? Because, I mean, we came out with this release. There's a 600% increase in the shipment of cocks to Guam.
And you mentioned that you had brought this again to the federal authorities about this illegal activity and illegal shipments. So it kind of makes me wonder, is this even a priority for federal law enforcement?
Good question, Bruce.
It's a great question. And, this whole notion that somehow this has been designated as a low priority enforcement action for local police is kind of beside the point. They're not really charged to enforce the federal law. So that was just kind of a rhetoric point by these local political and territorial officials who are apologists for cockfighting. The reality is this is a responsibility of the federal government. There is a United States attorney who is situated on Guam. The United States is bringing more and more cases on this front. We just did a release about a major Alabama cockfighter, a major global trafficker. His home cockfighting operation was the subject of a federal search warrant. Charges are likely to be brought soon. There are a whole batch of other federal cases. So I just think the people who are doing this are tempting fate to fight these animals that are risking a felony offense. And let me just remind your listeners, every count is up to a $250,000 fine and 5 years in prison. If you have 100 counts, because you have 100 animals who are in illegal shipment or in illegal fights, you can multiply that 5 years and 250,000 by that number of counts. So this truly threatens the freedom of people if the federal enforcement authorities act. And obviously, when they're conducting investigations, they don't announce it. It'll just happen to people. They'll get a knock on the door at some point. And I think we have so many other things we can do to entertain ourselves. Stop staging fights between animals. It's animal cruelty. You've got plenty of other things to entertain yourself without resorting to this sort of barbarism.
No further questions, Your Honor. No, I mean, it's just like, it almost seems like every 6 months we kind of repeat this cycle of you sounding the alarm and Senator Pito crying about the culture, and then...
And in the meantime, we're wondering, well, where are the feds?
Right.
The federal law enforcement, why aren't they acting?
I mean, do you think that case in Alabama, Wayne, was a sign of things to come? I mean, are there other actions that they've taken against cockfighters or cockfighting?
Yes, there have been a number of actions in Georgia. There are a number of other major investigations going on. And I do think it's a sign of the times. One of the other things that Animal Wellness Action and Animal Wellness Foundation are doing is we're supporting a federal law called the Animal Cruelty Enforcement Act to create a dedicated unit at the Department of Justice to enforce our federal anti-cruelty laws, which would be dogfighting, cockfighting, other forms of malicious cruelty, bestiality, other things that have been criminalized and that have serious penalties attached to them. So we are looking to enhance capacity. At the same time, the feds do have capacity. They're starting to look more seriously. And frankly, we've got a paper trail on these folks. We've got dossiers on them. There is a tremendous amount of evidence that would allow federal law enforcement to act right now.
I did want to ask, you did get these records from the Department of Agriculture. Have you had any conversations with the director over there?
I have had communications in the past, and I'm just sorry to say that we've alerted them to what the provisions of the federal law are. Again, since 2002, it's been a federal crime to sell birds for fighting across state or territorial lines. It's an equally significant federal crime to receive them. And this defense is, they're just for breeding. Well, we show the background of these people. We show their Facebook posts. We show pictures of them on the cover of cockfighting magazines. We show videos from their sites about their involvement in cockfighting. A number of them gave extended interviews on a Filipino network, BNTV, which is a cockfighting YouTube channel. And we have information on the receivers also being involved in cockfighting. I just find it astonishing that the Department of Agriculture on Guam is permitting these shipments. They should be the first line of defense. They're not bringing charges. They say, no, here's their response. They don't bring charges. They say, I'm sorry, we're not going to grant you the import permit because we know that there are considerable suspicions about these birds being used in animal fights. It is a federal law. We do not want to abet this crime by being an intermediary and to approve the shipment of these animals. So I plead to the Director of Agriculture, again, your job is not just some checking a box. It's not perfunctory. There's a real responsibility here. And we live in a society where there is an actual relationship between local, state, and federal laws. Local, state, and federal law enforcement cooperate with each other. Let's have the Department of Agriculture, with its actual enforcement responsibilities in this space, cooperate with the federal government and not allow these illegal shipments to come in. This is the third year, basically, where we've provided very tangible information. And over the 4-year period that we've gotten the records, there are more than 10,000 fighting animals that have been shipped. And Oklahoma is the #1 shipper. And Hawaii is #3. And those are the two most prominent origin sites for this latest trove of illegal shipments. Would we accept this if it was dogs coming in for fights? If in Dededo we had the Dome and they were hosting dog fights, would we just be allowing 1,000 dogs to come in for fights? No, we wouldn't. I mean, it would be unimaginable. And we need to expand our thinking to recognize that the law treats bird fighting and mammal fighting the same way. Dog fighting, cockfighting are similarly penalized. They are criminalized in the same way. And we should, as citizens and territorial authorities and federal law enforcement authorities, recognize that.
Thank you, Wayne.
Good to chat.
Yeah, hopefully when we talk to you again in a couple months, there'll be some kind of further development.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on.
Okay, Wayne.
Appreciate
Take it easy.
Take care.
7:34. That's Wayne Pacelle, Animal Wellness Action. Good morning. We're going to take a quick break at 7:34 on this Foot Gun Friday, July 23rd, 2021. This is The Link. Good morning.